Ladies and gentlemen, dreamers and achievers, welcome to a moment of reflection and growth. Today we're at a crossroads in our journey, ready to explore a concept that can reshape our paths and reignite our belief: the importance of learning from our mistakes. In a world that often highlights success stories, it's vital to remember that every triumph is intertwined with trials and challenges. Behind the scenes of our accomplishments, the threads of wisdom, resilience, and growth are woven into our mistakes. Today we embark on a journey of self-discovery where we uncover the profound significance of learning from our missteps. Consider for a moment how we develop when we gather insight from our mistakes. As we grow and adapt, our failure becomes the crucible in which our potential is refined into priceless experience that shapes us into more understanding, skillful, and insightful individuals. Our experiences shape us like clay in a potter's hand. Clay is buried potential. It needs to go through an intentional process to become a usable vessel or a priceless masterpiece. It starts with the potter cleaning the dirt and grime clinging to the clay. Once the filth of its surroundings have been removed, the potter begins a more thorough purging. He begins removing twigs and rocks and debris from the clay. It's a painstaking process, but a necessary one if the clay ever hopes of reaching its full potential as a durable masterpiece of high value. Once the clay has been cleaned and rid of its internal contaminants, the potter takes a deeper, more critical step to transform a dirty lump of clay into a priceless work of art. Although the clay is clean of visible impurities, the clay is not yet ready for the heat of the fire. If the potter placed the wild clay in the fire kiln at this point in the process, the exterior might look like a vase, but the interior would be riddled with frailness. The potter understands that what's on the inside is more critical than what's on the outside. This speaks to the internal strength of the clay. You see, tiny air bubbles throughout the clay make the internal structure weak. If the potter were to put the clay in the fire now, it would be too fragile to be of any use. The slightest impact would fragment and shatter the vase into a million pieces. A breakable vase is not a usable or valuable showpiece. It's a risk and hazard to itself and to those around it. For the potter to rid the clay of this internal weakness, it has to wedge the clay. It's a process similar to kneading dough to make bread. The potter beats the clay. That's right, he strikes, slams, punches, pushes, pulls, squeezes, rolls, and kneads the clay with intense pressure to remove the damaging air bubbles that cause its internal weakness. Now, it's one thing to say this about a lump of clay. It's another thing to say it about a person. For a person, this isn't a whimsical analogy, but an agonizingly painful, uncomfortable, and frustrating experience. And yet it's one of the only ways to ensure consistency, resilience, and the internal strength that you need to reach your full potential. Now here's where the rubber meets the road. How many of us have been beaten down by life? How many of us have taken painful blows one after the other like a storm surge breaking against the rocks? How many of us have been pushed around, pulled in different directions, stretched to our limit, weighed down by pressure, or rolled over by circumstances, decision, and yes, even our very own mistakes? Listen, I'm not trying to minimize your pain or suffering. What I'm saying is focus on the positive effects of negative experiences. Let me say that again. Focus on the positive effects of negative experiences. Think of yourself as the clay in the hand of a master potter. Life, difficulty, trials, mistakes are all working for you to rid you of internal weakness. Friend, you cannot reach your full potential unless and until your internal weaknesses and your character flaws are removed. Yes, I know it's a painful and uncomfortable process, but it is a necessary process to help you become resilient, tenacious, and strong. Embrace it. Don't run from it. Don't fear it. Use it. Here's the truth. Learning from our mistakes can be a catalyst for change. Change in which direction? Well, that's up to you. Mistakes can either hinder us or help us. They can break us or temper us. They can propel us forward or they can anchor us to the past. If you want to be successful and reach your full potential, learning from your mistakes is one of the most effective ways to develop perseverance and grit for what lies ahead. Just as stars shine brightest against the backdrop of darkness, our successes are most radiant against the tapestry of our mistakes. The path to greatness is illuminated by self-awareness, self-forgiveness, and the willingness to learn from our mistakes. Our mistakes guide us to better choices. They teach us what not to do. By embracing our mistakes, we equip ourselves with the grace and determination to lead better lives. Remember that our lives do not amount to the magnitude of our errors, but to our willingness to learn and grow from them. Beyond regret lies a world of possibilities, a realm where mistakes are not unforgivable, but building blocks for a thriving future. All mistakes hold a lesson. Each setback has a bright side. Each moment of growth brings us closer to achieving our full potential. So embrace the journey, cherish the lessons, and walk confidently towards a better life and a better you. Leave the past exactly where it's at, behind you, and step forward into those things which lie ahead.